everybody. This is our first episode of the Rise Above podcast, and we have our esteemed guest, Maria Brewer from Brewer Coaching. And additionally, she is our annual sponsor. And we're just going to be learning about her, why she decided to sponsor, and a little bit about her business. And let's get started. Maria, please tell us a little bit about yourself.
So my name is Maria Brewer. I am a recently retired U.S. ambassador. I was with the U.S. State Department for 29 years and served all over the world, mostly in Africa and South Asia, and of course in the U.S. as well. And I retired last fall, and I thought, what do I want to do with the rest of my life? And the answer became coaching, mentoring, and writing a book called The Ambassador's Leadership Edge. And it's the book that I wish that I had 29 years ago when I joined the State Department. And it's really a love letter to my community, to Latinas who are trying to reach the tops of their professions, no matter what it is, but have found themselves sort of stymied for some reason or other. And so to try to help them break through to get to the top, just like I did. So,
I
yeah.
love that. I love that. Thank you so much. And before we get into the sponsorship, can you tell us about your company? Is like, tell us like what does Brewer Coaching do?
Yeah, so it's Brewer Coaching Services, and I offer executive and leadership coaching for anyone. But of course, my current focus is on Latina women. I really want to help, again, members of my community break through and reach the top. So basically, working through the concepts of my book, power, presence, and purpose. Those are my sort of three pillars that if you understand power, your own power, the source of it, how you can call upon it, also how power is in how it moves, how it operates in organizations, especially the one that you belong to, whether it's nonprofit, government, corporate, whatever. And then your presence, how do you hone your presence? How do you say who you are and what you need? In an authentic way, because I think a lot of women, especially women of color, we get the message that the way to get ahead, our presence should be muted and should be somehow subsumed into the larger culture. Whereas my message is no, you need to be authentic, be yourself, be strategic, be intentional, but also, don't carve off your entire personality as part of presence. And then purpose. Why are you doing it? What do you want to get out of life? What drives you? Once you know that, once you know your mission and vision for your life, then of course everything becomes much clearer. And so that's how you get to the top. So
I
that's
really
really
like
my
that.
mission. Yeah,
I like that because
yeah,
authenticity is very important.
yes.
And in a world where things keep changing, like everything's a trend, beauty is a
Hmm.
trend, morals is a trend.
Hmm.
It's just things change. It's important to have a grounding, to be
Yes,
grounded and to know
yes.
who you are. And at the same time, when it's
Mhm.
appropriate to change with the times, but you
Yes.
really don't want to be
Hmm.
sweep with the wind, your
Yeah,
ideas and your
exactly.
beliefs, you want to be
Yeah.
grounded. So I'm
Hmm.
so excited that you're doing
Yeah.
this. I'm so excited that you're sharing your background with our clientels of
Hmm.
Rise Above Be Relentless Foundation. So I'm
Hmm.
so happy and very grateful for that. So
Yeah.
thank you.
Thank you.
My next question is, how did you
Hmm.
first hear about Rise Above and Be Relentless Foundation and its mission?
Yeah, I believe it was at the Tower Club at the Women in Business monthly breakfast where we do a lot of networking, get to know each other. It's so wonderful to be in a group of women, strong women who are, living their vision, living their purpose, and moving forward in the world. And so I believe it was an event that about nonprofits and how women can rise and be leaders in this field. And you spoke so eloquently about the Rise Above Be Relentless Foundation, about your vision, about your desire to help other women, particularly military families, deal with issues of, perhaps domestic violence, about abuse, but most importantly, how to move through it and move beyond it and to be ready to move it into the next phase of their lives. And it was such a powerful vision, and you were so clear and so driven and so oriented to this mission that I felt like, oh, I need to be a part of it. And how can I help? How can I bring the tools that I have to support this mission that you have?
Yeah, I like that. I like that. And then
Yeah.
because I remember you and I connected at the Tower
Hmm.
Club and we've
Hmm.
seen each other before, but I was just like,
Hmm.
okay, but this is like second time. And afterwards we had a meeting and everything, and I went through our pitch deck for our presentation. And leading to that, I wanted to ask you, so you heard about
Hmm.
us and about Rise Above and its mission, but what part of our conversation, once we get to do once we get together and
Hmm.
we did one-on-one,
Hmm. Hmm.
what made you to decide to be like, hey, um, I'm not just going to put, my time, but I'm also going to put resources and money, and
Hmm.
not just a
Hmm.
one-time thing, but to be an
Hmm.
annual sponsor because you're sponsoring the Legal Protect, our legal clinic that's
Yes.
starting next year.
Hmm.
So why that specific one?
Hmm.
And then
Hmm.
why not like a one-time? Not that I'm trying to
Hmm.
dissuade you from
No, no, no.
annual sponsorship, but I'm trying to figure out why
Yeah.
not.
Certainly, the recurring thing was something that I think about a lot whenever I see organizations that are trying to raise funds. I support podcasts. I support creatives with these monthly or annual subscriptions, and I was thinking, well, why not use that same model for fundraising for again an organization like this? People may bulk at $1,000 or a year, but they might not bulk at $100 a month, and then that's actually more than $1,000 a year. So, like a way to sort of break it up to where it's easier, perhaps for people, individuals, to support something that they believe in and a cause that they love. So I thought that was certainly for me very doable, again, for a cause that I really believe in. And I think I approached you originally just because, again, so moved by what you were doing. I really like the concrete and specific nature of the support. I think a lot of organizations talk in very vague terms about what they do and how they help. And what I liked was you were like, okay, we have this legal clinic that we're going to be putting on where we walk people through what are the steps to a separation, how can they legally protect themselves and their families. I know that you do financial support discussions. How can you become more financially grounded? How can you take care of yourself? How can you take care of your family? Whether you are in, you remain in a relationship or whether you are looking to move out of that relationship, having a good financial grounding. And so many women are held to a relationship because they don't feel like they can leave. And so giving women that grounding is important, not just for a unique situation in their lives, but for their whole lives. And I was, again, so moved by that very specific and very realistic and very real thing versus a lot of slogans, again, that you hear from a lot of organizations. So I'm sure mean well, and I know mean well, but you really sort of put your money where your mouth is, or made it something that is, I think, very useful and very helpful. So yeah, so I was glad to support financially, particularly the legal clinics, because again, I think for a lot of people, they know that they need to change something in their lives, but they don't know how, and they don't know what they can do. And by giving them some basic legal grounding and understanding, then they have an idea of, okay, these are the moves I can make, or this is how I need to mitigate against, or this is how I need to manage in the current relationship, in the current situation, until I can make those moves. And so I think that's so important for women to have a knowledge and understanding of what can they do. So that's where I came from. And of course when we met, I think I said, well, I have these tools, I have this book that I wrote, I have these suggestions that I think might help, as women are again transforming their lives. Like, what can I do? What can I bring to the table?
I
Yeah.
really like that because in I believe it was January or February, I think it was January that we were going
Yeah.
to do the resiliency class
Hmm.
because our
Hmm.
mental health, wellness, and just
Hmm.
program is starting next year. So you'll be our first person. It'll be virtual, and you'll talk about resiliency. What was the other
Hmm.
thing that we were talking about that you're going to be that part of?
Imposter syndrome is always
Yes.
something that a lot of women I hear, again, women of color, but women in general, I hear that from them a lot, that they deal with imposter syndrome. Like, I'm in this new situation, this new place, and I don't feel like I belong. And what do I do? And so,
Okay. And then I like
yeah.
that. So when people come to that one, I'm gonna send you links, you guys. Make sure you
Hmm.
sign up.
Hmm.
What do you think they will get? Like, what is one thing they will get out of your session?
Yeah, I have a number of tools, a number of ways to sort of attack imposter syndrome and to manage it. I think one of the things that people are surprised when I talk about it is I talk about the fact that I had imposter syndrome as a US ambassador. And people will say, well, of course, they on the outside, you look like everything's fine. I had been for decades with the US government as a diplomat, serving overseas in all kinds of places. But still, when I stepped into this new role, I had the imposter syndrome. And I think that's something that surprises people. And I talk very specifically, again, not just slogans, but very specific ways that you can deal with it. To a certain extent, understanding that it may not always go away. And that's fine too. But it's really about managing through it, with it, around it, and understanding how to work with it and how to still be yourself and how to still succeed regardless. So I have a number of steps that people can take, different ways of looking at it, that could help them just move through, be like that swan that's gliding across the lake with the you don't see the little feet underneath that are paddling, and so that's kind of the image that I want people to be able to project.
I
um,
really
you
like
know
that because
yeah.
I feel like imposter syndrome is not really a bad thing, not
Mm-mm.
always at least,
No, no.
because I have imposter syndrome where this is our second annual. We're doing the golf tournament, the
Hmm.
gala, and
Hmm.
then when we did it last year, like, oh, that's amazing. And we're doing it
Hmm.
this year again. And we're like, we get really high up and then like things come up or hurdles. And I'm like, what were you
Hmm.
thinking? Why didn't you just choose something easy? Like, why do you have to do this?
Uh-huh.
And I beat myself up for it. And I was like, what makes you qualified? You're not like the
Yeah.
greatest golfer. I host really
Hmm.
great golf tournaments, but I'm like, I'm a beginner
Hmm.
golfer. And I have all
Hmm.
these thoughts. And I'm like, I'm doing it because I can. And there's
Hmm.
people I care about. And this charity is very important to
Hmm.
me. And it happened
Hmm.
last year. God made it happen. And it's going to
Yeah.
happen again this
Yeah.
year. And you're going to be
Hmm.
fine. I always say
Hmm.
progress over perfection. Just
Yes.
just do the
Yes.
work and give it your best. And
Uh-huh.
most likely it's going to work out. And if it doesn't,
Yeah.
it's lesson learned and you could
Uh-huh.
improve it next time.
Yeah.
Nobody's keeping
Absolutely.
a score. So it's you
No.
versus you. So
Hmm.
it's just kind of like
Hmm.
be like I tell the imposter syndrome, I'm like, yeah, I hear you, but let me put you
Hmm.
in a shoebox right now and I'll deal with you later.
Yeah.
And we got to keep going anyway.
No,
So,
exactly. Yeah. One of my sort of principles for dealing with imposter syndrome is take the warning, but leave the fear.
oh, I
Because
love that.
imposter syndrome, especially when you're when you're trying something new, when you're trying something difficult, there's a warning. It's telling you be on your guard. Like, it's valid, right? You're stepping into something new. You're trying something hard. You're trying something. So there's a warning there. So literally, part of the way I deal with it is to take it from the back of my mind and that little voice telling you're going to fail, right? Bring it to the front and saying, "Thank you. Thank you for the warning. I hear you. I appreciate what you're telling me, but I'm not going to let you paralyze me with fear." And that's the difference is you take the warning, but you leave the fear. Like, I hear you. Thank you. I get it. We got to be on our toes. We're in a new situation. We're trying something hard. It's going to be difficult. We're going to have problems. Thank you for the warning, but I'm not going to let the fear. And that's for me is the
I like that.
difference is
I
not
like
letting
that.
the fear stop you. So that's
I like that.
one of my keys. Yep. Take
I
the
like
warning,
that
leave the
tidbits
fear.
right there. Yeah, I love
Hmm.
that. And I
Yeah.
wanted to move to the personal side, if you feel
Hmm.
comfortable.
Sure. Sure.
Is there a personal story or experience that connects you to this cause? What does Rise Above mean to
Hmm.
you personally, not just
Hmm.
professionally?
Yeah. I think for me, one of the issues that I saw all over the world, including in the U.S., is women who are um, financially and otherwise constrained to be in relationships that it may not be comfortable for them.
Yeah.
They may it may even be their relationship or their posture within the relationship. Maybe they don't even need to leave, but they need to put themselves on greater footing. And I remember when I was a kid, not just my mom but other friends' moms, they would do things like buy clothes and then hide them in the back of the closet. because they didn't want their husbands to know what they had bought, or they would hide the receipts of something they bought because they felt like they couldn't spend money. And these weren't extravagant, like these weren't, people out overspending and buying flashy, clothes, or a lot of times it was necessities, school shoes and, just going to church or going to work outfits. But they felt like they had to hide it because they weren't financially independent themselves. And I
Mhm.
always felt like, at that age, saying, I'll never do that. I'll never want to be in that situation where I feel like I can't even get something for myself or my kids because I feel like I have to be answering to someone else. And that was such a strong message, which I think is part of the reason why the financial literacy resonates with me, because I grew up seeing so many women who they didn't have any power, they didn't have any, ability to take care of themselves financially, or they didn't believe they did, right? So they would find themselves again in situations where they didn't necessarily want to be, or they wouldn't even have the power, right? And sometimes just even having their own power and their own knowledge would balance out a relationship. And then I've served in many countries and many places where um, gender-based violence is prevalent. The last posting I had overseas was the country of Lesotho. Beautiful country inside of South Africa, this tiny, tiny mountain kingdom. Just the most gorgeous, picturesque place you can imagine. Just, green mountains and, sheep and horses and just the most beautiful. And underneath it all, though, was this gender-based violence and the statistics on women and girls, just what they dealt with in their lives, was so prevalent. And again, from, young children all the way to, married women. And again, so many of them were powerless to change their situation. They didn't know how. And so, just seeing that and trying to support, through my official, position, but also informally trying to help, balance out some of that was always very meaningful to me. Because there's a saying in Africa, women hold the path to the sky. And you know, understanding that women are the backbone and the basis for most of society in most of the world. I think in the whole world, women really hold that up, and to help them be the strong people that they are and can be, and able to express themselves fully in their families, in their relationships, in their workplaces. I think that's so important. So it's been kind of a theme throughout my life, even from childhood on.
I love that. Thank you so much for sharing that with us. And, we would left for a longer conversation. I would definitely like to hear like how you participated and how you helped them, because that's very inspiring. And the thing you said about the woman hold the sky, in Islam, we
Hmm.
say the heaven is on the feet of the mother. So
Hmm.
if you don't honor her and everything, basically like you need to honor your woman in your life, because for you to get to heaven is like it's on their feet. And
Hmm.
women are really valued, and just we want to align that where it's just when you protect the people who are bringing life and you're taking care of them and you're respecting them, only good things are going to happen to you, and more, you'll prosper more. And everybody knows women multiply when you give them one
Hmm.
thing.
Yes,
So just
yes.
honoring the woman in your life, and whether it's a friend, a neighbor, wife, daughter, friend, sister, just honoring them will make you better, because we're here
Hmm.
to, like you said, the backbone of society.
Hmm.
And the goal eventually is to end gender-based violence. And I think starting with empowering them and letting them know
Hmm.
that they can do this and they can take care of themselves. Because most
Hmm.
people find themselves in abusive situations. There might be an opportunity to be out, but
Hmm.
because mentally they believe that there is no out and there is no
Hmm.
power, many of those opportunities are passing them by.
Hmm.
So I think just saying like, hey, you're
Hmm.
very powerful, like within yourself, like use your brain. You're not like, one of our pillars is sustenance comes from the creators, not people, because the creator gives you, everything you need. I always
Mhm.
say, thank God we're in the mercy of the Lord, not people. And I always try to say that to people. I'm like, hey, you could do it. You have the brain, you have the strength, you have the
Mhm.
ability. Like, you will be
Mhm.
fine. Just
Mhm.
take the leap, safely to do so.
Mhm.
But thank you so much for sharing. One of the other things I wanted to ask you is, so so now you're also serving on our
Mhm.
committee, our golf committee. So
Yes.
before it was like, hey, we talked, potential
Uh-huh.
donor, annual sponsorship, and now it's, you're also serving as golf committee, and you also offered your services as part of the silent auction
Mhm.
items, and they were each worth $350, I believe.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Four or
Yeah.
three of them, yeah.
Yeah. For. Uh-huh.
So so just like, when people bid on them, that's like money for the foundation.
Mhm.
I guess, how has being involved changed, or like, either kept the same opinion
Mhm.
or changed it or improved it? Like, how has
Mhm.
that, being involved and seeing how it works? What
Yeah.
thoughts do you have?
A couple of thoughts. First of all, just total admiration for you, Sumi. I think, you are so um, organized, you're very thoughtful, you're very mission focused, very driven. And so I admire that. I always admire strong women. Women who have a vision, have a focus, and make it happen. I think a lot of us have a vision or a plan or an idea, but turning that into action is so impressive. So it's always wonderful to be around you and the other members of the committee who are themselves, I can see, very driven. And in fact, it's been a challenge to me to sort of step up and think about, okay, how can I impact? How can I bring positive impact to this organization? The other challenge for me, and this is again a challenge that I'm facing in my personal life as well, so it's interesting to see it reflected here, is that in my previous role as a U.S. diplomat, I could go in and I could deliver very difficult messages to even a hostile audience because I was representing the US government. So I would say, this is our policy, this is what we need, this is, and even when I knew it wasn't going to be well received. And I had the courage to do that. But suddenly I'm finding myself now in this new role, working for myself, creating this coaching business, writing a book. I'm having to talk about myself and supporting that. And that is so much harder than talking about than representing the US government. It's so much more difficult to represent myself. And similarly, as I'm trying to step out and look for sponsors, look for funding, look for people who can support Rise Above, Be Relentless, I'm finding the same shyness, even though I believe in what the foundation is doing, and I really think that it has it has been doing good in the world and has the ability to do even more in the world, or even more good if with more support. It's the same thing. I feel often shy or you know like not willing to step out as much, and so it's been a real challenge. And so that for me has been something that I found um, very useful and very worthwhile, to both help the foundation because of the work it's doing that's so wonderful and so useful and worthwhile, but also for myself to say, okay, this is yet another exercise the universe is giving you to learn to speak up and speak out, you know, for the good of others. So it's a learning journey and it's a process. So I really value that because again, I believe in the foundation, so I want to see it do better. So that means I have to be a little bold and a little direct sometimes. So thank you for that. Thank you for
I
that
love that.
opportunity.
Thank you so much for your kind words. Definitely, as outgoing as I am, first year asking for money felt so cringe because I'm going there and I'm just like, can I have some money? You know,
Uh-huh.
but then as I kept getting more money and also rejections, I was like, you know what? The worst they can say is no. So I'm just gonna go.
Uh-huh.
And that's not the worst thing they said, but the point for this point is the worst, the worst thing they can say is
Uh-huh.
no. And I go and I ask, it just gets easier and it
Yeah.
just becomes second nature.
Hmm.
And because you're representing a foundation, I think the different with the State
Hmm.
Department, that's like a whole US government.
Yeah.
And because we're a new nonprofit, there's also like, we're good, but also you need that big backbone to be like, hey, I'm
Uh-huh.
the US government. And
Yeah,
eventually we'll get there to
exactly.
be like, hey, I'm with Rise Above. But until then,
Yeah.
It takes a little bit
Yeah.
of finesse and it
Mhm.
builds character.
Boldness. Yeah,
Yeah, and
boldness,
boldness.
really.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
I
So it's a
definitely
good
like
exercise. It's like I'm lifting weights only in boldness. So
exercising that
yeah.
boldness muscle. Well, in that case,
Hmm.
you're welcome. Um, so
Yeah.
from looking forward, what do you hope that this partnership will look like in a year now, like a year from now, or 5 years
Yeah.
from now?
Um,
What do you think?
I think it's all about impact, definitely the impact that Rise Above Be Relentless can have in the world. There's a saying like you save one person, you save the world, right? You save the world, you save one person. And it's so beautiful to, be a part of something that is saving individuals and helping them find their strength and their power and their peace. So doing that on an individual level, but then seeing that multiply and seeing that grow in, the numbers of people impacted, the numbers of people supported, just seeing that improved. And I think that is something that I'm looking forward to being, an individual, a supporter for those folks. So to bring my individual goodness, but then again to see overall the foundation just be able to multiply what can be done and how it can reach out into the world. And of course, getting to know you and again some of these other committee members and board members even better because just from my interactions to date, I'm so impressed by these can-do, very capable individuals, and I'm like, yes, these are the kinds of people that I want to be associated with in company with because you grab that energy from them and hopefully I'm giving that energy to
Oh yeah,
them. It's
definitely.
really but you emerge from even these weekly phone calls that we have with the committee. I emerge from them going, yeah, what can I do and how can I, it's always a bump. So I really appreciate that. Yeah, being in company with you and so many other wonderful folks.
Oh, you're so sweet. Thank you so much. We're
Yeah.
very lucky to have you and your energy and your ideas. So what would you say to another business owner or
Mhm.
individual who's on the
Mhm.
fence about becoming a sponsor?
I would say this is your opportunity. Do not lose this opportunity. Take advantage of the ability to be part of something that is bringing real good into the world. Something that isn't just about slogans, isn't just about feel good, but it's about making people's lives measurably better, giving them the tools, giving them the knowledge, giving them the ability, giving them the strength to make their lives and their families' lives better. So, be part of it. You've got a wonderful opportunity. Take advantage of it.
I love it. I love it. For the closing here, these two
Mhm,
last questions. So for listeners who want to support Rise Above the way you have, where should they
mhm,
go? What should they do? Or how else can they
mhm,
support it? Because the membership,
mhm,
that was your idea
mhm.
with starting 25, 50, 100,
Yeah.
you know what I mean?
Mhm,
So what, how if they want to say, okay, Maria did this, how else can I
mhm.
support? What
Yeah.
should I do? Like, what thinking process did you go through that you
Yeah.
can, like, any final
Yeah.
thoughts that,
Yeah,
why this
definitely. Well,
cause matters?
absolutely. I certainly, having the monthly, the ability to do a monthly donation is great. Again, you may feel like, oh, I don't have the money to do a $5,000 or $10,000 contribution. That's fine. I think giving something every month, whatever you can, and I'm sure in the show notes there'll be the links to be able to go to the website to go ahead and do that. And just by giving a little bit every month, that's money that the foundation can count on monthly. It's great to get the big one time. I mean, everyone loves a big one time donation, but also important is to know that there's a certain amount of funding coming regularly. And I think with you could get one $10,000 donations or you could get 10 $1,000 donations, right? Either both are great. So, individuals or people with smaller organizations, smaller companies like myself, they may be able to do it in a bite-sized way. So please don't hesitate. Do it now. And again, I'm sure the links will be in the show notes. I think that's something very important. And the other way that you can support is by thinking, yeah, what are the tools that I have? What are the resources that I have that I could use to help? um, is there knowledge that you may have? Is there if you're an organization looking to hire people, maybe reach out to Rise Above and say, hey, do you have any women that are looking for jobs? And look, I have a job. Like, there are ways that you can help out, both financially, which is great, but also, like, what are ways that you can reach out and think about, okay, in my situation, what tools do I have to bring to the table that I could help out with these families? So I think there's so much, and of course, come to the golf tournament.
Yes,
That's
September
yes,
28th. Thank you so much
absolutely.
for being here with us, Maria. We really appreciate you. And um, for you listeners out there, if you need executive coaching
Mhm.
or if you need advice from Maria, or you want to come attend our golf tournament or attend her the mental health wellness program that she's doing on resiliency. And I, on top of my mind, hold on, don't tell me. Imposter syndrome.
Yes, deal with imposter syndrome. Also,
uh,
I wrote a
Please
book,
attend. Yes. Oh, yes, yes,
The
yes, yes.
Ambassador's Leadership Edge. It's for women who are ready to rise to the top.
Can you
So
lift
it
it up
is,
like this so they can see it?
yes, yes, yes. The
There you
Ambassador's Leadership Edge. It is on Amazon, so
go.
you can find it right there. So please check it
We'll
out.
include the
It's
link in the
Yes,
video as well.
absolutely. Yes,
So,
absolutely.
thank you so much, you guys. We really
Yes.
appreciate it. Again, reminder for events, buy Maria's book. We have the golf tournament, Rise Above Golf Tournament,
Mhm.
second annual on September 28th, 2026 at Bull Run from all day from like 9 a.m. to 6. Breakfast, lunch, and dinner is included. Lunch is Fogo. Breakfast is Bobby's
Mm.
Bagel, like last year, and dinner will be from the golf tournament, which I know will be delicious. So please come along, and we're really excited to see you and have a great one. And thank you so much, Maria.
Oh, thank you. This was lovely. I appreciate it.
Same.